Before we start the movie, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new content. The film begins with a man named Kevin, who is heading to the beach. There, he meets a woman named Marlene, and it's their first time meeting. They start talking, and Kevin realizes she's married and comes to this place to escape her problems. When she asks about his job, he tells her he works at a big library, loves books, and is passionate about reading. She says she has to leave, but he asks her to stay a little longer so they can talk more. However, Marlene apologizes and says she has to go. The next day, Kevin calls Marlene, and she's happy that he remembered her and reached out. He tells her he wants to see her, but she apologizes, saying she's not free at the moment because she's at home with her daughter-in-law, Strid, and has to stay with her since her boyfriend is around. Kevin feels disappointed that he won't get to see her, but then she tells him she also wants to see him and promises they'll meet soon. A week later, Kevin is at work talking to his colleague Kay, who seems to have feelings for him. She asks what his plans are after work. He replies that he doesn't have any specific plans, just going for his usual jog. She tells him she also enjoys running and suggests they meet up sometime to run together. Kevin reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, Marlene enters the library with Strid. Kay notices Kevin's gaze the moment Marlene walks in and feels jealous. Kevin goes to help them and senses that Marlene came just to see him. While talking, Strid says she's looking for a particular book. Kevin tells her it's in the basement and offers to accompany her. But Strid tells Marlene she wants to browse other books and leaves Kevin and Marlene alone. As they go downstairs, Kevin shows her around and explains that they store old or rarely used books there. He finds the book Strid was looking for. Marlene thanks him, but he says it's just part of his job and no need to thank him. She replies that she wasn't thanking him for doing his job, but for appearing in her life. Then she steps closer and confesses her love for him. A few days later, Kevin is with his friend Kim, who tells him she saw Marlene walking with an older man who is very wealthy. Kim tries to make Kevin dislike Marlene, claiming she's clearly married to him for his money. But Kevin doesn't care and leaves her. The next day, Kevin meets Marlene at the beach and tells her how happy he is she called. Marlene asks about Kim and says she noticed that the girl in the library seemed interested in him. Kevin tells her he doesn't care about Kim, and since he met Marlene, he hasn't thought of anyone else. She is touched by his words, and they spend a lovely time together by the sea. They then talk about her husband and her daughter-in-law Strid. Marlene says she hates her husband because he always mistreats Strid and even beats her when she defends the girl. Kevin gets very upset and tells her she must take action, either by leaving him or reporting his abuse to the police. Marlene replies that it's not that simple and the police wouldn't take her seriously. She then asks Kevin about his life. He reveals that he was in prison and had been released recently. When she asks why, he explains that he defended a young girl who was assaulted by an older man. He tried to stop the man and fought with him, only to later find out the man had powerful connections, which led to Kevin being imprisoned. Marlene comforts him, and they spend a sweet moment together before leaving. Marlene tells him she'll try to meet him again soon. When Kevin puts his hand in his pocket, he realizes he lost his precious keychain. Marlene offers to help him look for it, but he declines and says he'll handle it. He urges her to leave so she doesn't get home late and risk being beaten by her husband. A week later, Kevin is out jogging when his phone rings. He lights up when he sees it's Marlene calling. The next day, they meet in her car and start talking. Kevin senses something is bothering her and asks why. She tells him things with her husband are getting worse, and they might not be able to see each other again. Kevin gets angry and says their story can't end like this and that she must find a solution, even if it means death. Marlene apologizes for the situation she put him in and says she has to leave. Kevin gets out of the car and walks away. Weeks later, Kevin is walking with Kim after work and they come across Marlene sitting with Strid and her boyfriend. Kevin asks Strid about the book he gave her and whether it helped with her research. She thanks him, saying it helped a lot. Kevin then tells Kim to go ahead so she won't be late and stays behind to talk to Marlene. Marlene asks about a book about a woman who killed her husband, and Kevin understands that she's considering doing the same so they can be together. He tells her the story and says it had a happy ending. Then he leaves. That same day, Kevin sits down and hears his phone ringing. It's Marlene. When he answers, she tells him that seeing him earlier was overwhelming and that she couldn't express how much she missed him. Kevin says he missed her too and that they need to find a way to fix this. He tells her he's ready to do anything for her, even what she talked about earlier regarding the book. Marlene says she's also ready to take that step with him, to finally get rid of her husband and live their life freely. The next day, they meet to discuss the details of the crime they plan to commit. Marlene says the best place to kill him is at his house, since there's no security or alarm systems. She also tells him that her husband always keeps a gun under his pillow. Kevin hesitates and asks if she's doing this for his money. She gets upset and says all the money will go to his daughter anyway, as everything is in her name. She just wants to escape the torment she's living in. Kevin apologizes and tells her he'll do everything himself, and afterward, they'll live together and he'll make up for all she lost. She thanks him for being in her life and hugs him. Before Kevin leaves, he sits with her in the car and tells her they shouldn't talk during this period so no one suspects anything. He asks her that if anyone asks about him or their past conversations, she should say she was contacting him about books and such. Marlene then tells him the best time to enter the house and how to get in to kill her husband. Kevin warns her not to call him no matter what happens and says she should send him a secret code word if there's an emergency. They agree the password will be book. He tells her if things get really bad, just send the word and he'll come save her at any cost. Marlene thanks him for everything, and he leaves. A few days later, we see Kevin sitting with Kim, who finally confesses her feelings for him. Kevin gently rejects her and tells her there's someone else in his life. Kim feels very hurt and embarrassed, and she walks away angrily. That same night, Kevin goes to Marlene's husband's house to kill him. We learn that he had met with Kim earlier as an alibi, to prove he was busy that day and had nothing to do with the crime. He enters the house wearing a mask and quietly heads to the husband's room, but he's surprised to find that the husband has already come home drunk and is talking to his daughter on the phone, completely unaware of his surroundings. Kevin takes advantage of the situation and attacks him. Unfortunately, he makes a noise as he approaches, and the husband hears it and starts running. As Kevin chases him, the husband reaches under the pillow for his gun and threatens Kevin with it. Suddenly, someone appears from behind and strikes him on the head with a sharp object, killing him and saving Kevin. Kevin grabs the gun and points it at the person, ordering him to take off the mask. He discovers it's Strid's boyfriend. When Kevin asks what he's doing there, the man says he came to rob the house, just like Kevin. Kevin is even more confused and can't make sense of what's going on. He considers killing the man to avoid leaving any witnesses, and he does. Afterward, Kevin notices that his neck is injured from the struggle and becomes angry, fearing he may have left blood at the crime scene. He leaves the house quickly, extremely agitated, and begins smashing everything around him out of frustration. When he gets home, he's in a very bad state and is surprised to receive a call from Marlene. He answers and tells her that he asked her not to call him so they wouldn't get caught, and that she just made a big mistake. She says she only wanted to check on him and know what happened. Kevin speaks to her angrily, still disturbed by everything that took place. She tries to calm him down and tells him everything will be fine, but he doesn't care about her words and demands to know why Strid's boyfriend was there. Marlene is shocked and says she knows nothing about that, insisting it must be a coincidence. Kevin explains everything in detail, saying he didn't kill her husband but was forced to kill Strid's boyfriend. Marlene is stunned by all of this, but ultimately accepts the situation and says what matters is that they will now live their life together. She reminds him that she loves him very much. Kevin replies that he loves her too and asks her not to call him again, only to send the agreed-upon message if she's in danger. Then he ends the call. From that day on, Kevin tries to live a normal life, but he remains haunted by what happened. One night, while heading to dinner, he sees Kim with her new boyfriend. She ignores his greeting, and Kevin feels overwhelmed with guilt and regret for everything he's done. On another day, while sitting at home watching TV, he receives a message from Marlene that says only one word, book, their secret code. He immediately knows she's in danger. He jumps up, quickly gets dressed, and heads out to save her, but is shocked to find the police waiting outside his house. They already know he's going to leave at that time. Kevin tells them he's just going for a jog and starts to act nervous. Officer Jack tells him they know everything, that blood found at the crime scene matches his, that jewelry and money were stolen from the house, and that police discovered he was an accomplice of the second man who died. Kevin senses that something is wrong, but pretends to surrender. Then suddenly, he punches the officer and escapes, managing to get away. He decides to go to the place where he used to meet Marlene, only to find the police waiting there too. Kevin realizes something's off and asks the officer how they knew where he'd be. The officer says a woman called and told them about that location. Kevin is shocked to hear that the medallion he lost was found at the crime scene, and it all becomes clear, she planned everything. He was just a pawn in her plan to get rid of her husband. Then his phone rings, but the officer warns him not to put his hand in his pocket in case he's reaching for a gun. Kevin feels he must answer the phone, but the moment he reaches into his pocket, the police shoot him. He dies instantly. Sometime later, we see Marlene living with Strid. It becomes clear that the two of them used the men who loved them to achieve what they wanted, the murder of Marlene's husband and Strid's father, at the same time. And that's how the film ends. If you liked the movie, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new content.